Welcome in episode 13 of the Through the Whistle podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ty Belcher. On today's episode, we're going to talk about this weekend's matchups in the NFL and touching on the two big matchups that are going to come in college football in the Pac-12 between Oregon and Utah, as well as USC and UCLA in the Battle of California. But before we do any of that, let's talk about last night's Thursday night football matchup between the struggling Green Bay Packers and the Tennessee Titans. So yesterday, if you watched the episode, you saw that I believed in Derrick Henry as well as Aaron Rodgers in the player prop side. And if y'all were to guess, y'all probably would have been like, Ty, anybody messed you up, it would have been Aaron. No, I wish. So after the show, I put in the parlay. I had Aaron Rodgers, 225 plus passing yards. He got 227. Amazing. Love it. He got a last second, 18-yard completion, and then they had a turnover on downs. The game was essentially over. I was like, let's go. We love it. And you know, I thought that they would give the ball to Derrick Henry after that, but they didn't. Derrick Henry, 100-plus rushing yards. He ended with 87 off 28 carries. That hurt my heart because I also had four other legs. I did Titans plus 13.5. Easy. They won outright. Great day. Anthony Simmons from the Trailblazers and Damian Lillard both to score 20 points. Dame had 25. I think Anthony finished with 21. Also had De'Aaron Fox, 20-plus points. He had, I want to say, almost 30 points. So the only leg that lost was Derrick Henry. It was a bad night. Cried myself to sleep. It's a bad night. But anyways, let's not talk about my betting woes at the moment. So last night, I don't know what got into Ryan Tannehill through, I would say, about 3/4 of the game. Ryan Tannehill was out there dealing. I was surprised. I was like, whoa, Ryan, this is not you. You're not this type of guy. You're not this good. You suck. You're a mid quarterback. I think he's literally the middle of the pack quarterback. Breaks off being absolutely dog crap and then being above average to good. But Ryan Tannehill went out there and completed 22 of 27 passes for 333 yards and 2 touchdowns. And most of the game, he was playing really good football. And then, tail end, he's going to play mid. He's going to be Ryan Tannehill. But on the other side, let's just stay on the Titans right now. Treylon Burks, their first-round pick, who they essentially traded A.J. Brown for, had a very, very good game. Seven catches for 111 yards. Couldn't get into the end zone, sadly. Got stopped at the 5-yard line on the last possession where I needed them to just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. But it's okay. Ty, calm down. But Titans go into Green Bay, handle business. Play action helped Ryan Tannehill out a lot. Green Bay did what I thought they would. Stack the box against Derrick Henry. Leave guys on islands. But the Titans were able to expose that. Able to get a lot of guys open through play action. Even a jump pass from Derrick Henry on the 3-yard line. The man can do everything. In the words of Friday Night Lights, and he can pass. Derrick Henry, field day, does what Derrick Henry does. On the other side, I told y'all, I try not to talk about teams that are dead in the water. But since it was Thursday Night Football, I had to talk about a team that was dead in the water. The Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, they're done. They're out of there. What is there to do? What is there to say? I said how Packers are going to have trouble with the run game because Titans' run defense is pretty good. Aaron Jones only 46 yards rushing. Aaron Rodgers was missing a lot of throws. I just don't know what was going on. He threw an interception on a fade ball that was supposed to go to Lazard that wasn't going to be open regardless. So he ended up pouting about it like, no, Aaron, you threw some bull crap. It's okay. And he's out here short hopping, like short skipping the ball to the receivers. It was bad. Aaron doesn't look like a guy who just came off of 2 back-to-back MVP seasons. He just doesn't look like that same guy. And with the last night's loss, the Packers dropped to 4-7. The Packers are way behind the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, as we all know, has only 1 loss compared to the Packers' 7, which is a nice sizable gap. As of right now, the way that the NFC is shaping out, with the Cowboys having only 3 losses, the Giants only having 2 losses, and with the Niners probably going to finish around 11-6, 12-5, probably not 12-5, 11-6, 10-7, and the Seahawks probably going to finish around that same area. The Packers at 4-7, essentially, they want any type of hope. They need to go above 500, obviously. So if they want to go above 500, they have to go 5-1 in the next 6 games. And I'm going to read off these next 6 games, and y'all tell me where they only lose 1 game, right? They're going to lose 1 of these next 6 games. And you tell me how many losses they'll have through these 6 games. Next week, the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the best running teams in the whole NFL right now. Packers, one of the worst run defenses in the whole NFL. The Chicago Bears with Justin Fields. Justin Fields has came into his own. I can go either way. We all know Aaron, regardless, is going to own the Bears. So that's going to be interesting. The Los Angeles Rams, who are dead in the water, but Aaron Donald always seems to, I guess, find a way to get pressure on Aaron, on Rodgers. No, double Aaron squared. But the Rams, I guess it's a 50-50 game, another 50-50 game. But after the Rams, they have the Dolphins. Let's be real. Come on. Let's call it a spade. The Dolphins are going to kick the Packers' teeth in. Then after that, they have the Vikings. Are the Packers going to stop the Vikings? We saw what happened week 1. Let's get serious. And then the last game of the season, they have the Lions at home, where they will beat the Lions because Jared Goff is trash in cold weather. We all know how he is. So, right there, in those 6 games, there's at least 2 losses. If we're being honest, 3. Only reason I'm not saying 3 outright losses because the Vikings, I don't remember the last time the Vikings have swept the Green Bay Packers. So, I'll give Aaron the benefit of the doubt on that. But I do think, at best, this team is an 8-9 team. They're going to finish second in the division. So next season they're going to have a second-place schedule. I just don't know what's next for the Green Bay Packers. Hopefully they get a receiver. Probably Jackson Smith-Njigba. Maybe Hyatt from Tennessee. Maybe Jordan Addison from USC. But with the Green Bay Packers, you never know what's going to happen next. So, on the other side, back to the other side, keep going back and forth. Titans are taking a very, very strong lead in the AFC South. They're, 2 games ahead of the Colts, have the head-to-head as of right now. They're in pretty good position. As of right now, they're also the 3rd seed, even if Baltimore wins this weekend. They will be in the 3rd seed, and that's a pretty good spot as of right now. I think you really want to get to that 2nd seed because 5 and 6 are probably going to be The Jets are probably going to be at 6. The Jets have a very strong run defense. Very strong defense. I think they match up well against the Titans. And then at the 5th seed is either going to be the Dolphins or the Bills. And I'm pretty sure that they're hoping that it's the Dolphins and Tua having to come up to Nashville in the cold. But we'll get more into that towards the tail end of the season. Still a lot more football to be played. A lot more clear picture that can get better resolution as the next couple weeks go on. So let's pivot to some more teams that actually have playoff hopes away from the Packers. And the first thing I want to talk about is a game that got moved from Buffalo to Detroit. I'm kind of sad, not even kind of, I'm very sad that this game got moved from Buffalo, because who doesn't want to see people falling in the snow playing football, face masks full of snow. We all know the LaShawn McCoy picture of him getting up and just having a face full of snow. And that's a top tier picture. And then I think that would have made this game way more even, because the Browns, great running team. We know that. Bills, that's a strong run team. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bills would do. If they'll try to lean more on maybe Moss or even Cook, but we won't. The world may never know, just like a Tootsie Pop. We'll never know. So the Browns come into this game as the second best rushing offense in the league. You know, you have the best running back in the league, Nick Chubb, who Kevin Stefanski sometimes forgets he has on the team, because Kevin Stefanski, I don't know what goes through his head. But the Bills, on the other hand, have allowed the seventh least amount of rushing yards. It's kind of a weird sentence, but and just say that in a less junky, clunky way. The Bills are a top 10 team. They have allowed in the bottom 10 amount of yards allowed rushing. So the Bills, just summarize that, the Bills are a very good rushing defense. It also helps that in a lot of games the Bills get out ahead very fast, so it forces teams to pass the ball more. But the Bills have a very good interior, very good front seven, or front six in today's NFL. And that's going to be a matchup problem for the Browns in a lot of ways. Even though the Bills have allowed 200-plus yard rushers in the last 3 games, honestly, you could say in each of the last 3, because if we're being honest, the Jets had 2 rushers who combined for, I want to say, about 120-ish yards. And they also allowed Aaron Jones to rush for over 100 yards. And they also last week allowed Devin Cook to run for over 100 yards. So hopefully for the Browns, Nick Chubb can get it going. Hopefully they don't get, behind too early. Like I said last week with the Miami Dolphins, you get down early, it's going to be a long day. And this team is prone to letting passes. The pass just tear up the Browns, because the Browns are bad. They're the 9th worst pass defense in the league. 9th worst. And just like I said, the Browns are the second best rushing offense. The Bills are the second best passing offense. So you kind of marry the two things of Bills, a top 2 pass offense, and then the Browns being a bottom tier pass defense. And it's looking like it's going to be a field day for Josh Allen. If the Bills can just, neutralize Myles Garrett, game's over. GG's. Off to the Little Caesars in Detroit. It's all going to really come down to if Josh Allen can just make the right choices, not turn the ball over. He struggled the last 3 games with poor choices, a lot of turnovers, leading the league, and total turnovers right now. So if he doesn't turn the ball over, Bills probably run away with this, cover the 8-point spread. And for the Browns, you need to win games. Like I said last week, you need to win games to try to keep this team as close to the playoffs a playoff chance as possible for when Deshaun Watson gets back. Only 2 more games, 1 more after this Sunday. Next week's game against the Bucs will be the last one without Deshaun. And you need to win games. You dropped a couple early. A lot of games that one possession, where if you actually had a good quarterback, no offense to Jacoby Brissett, but he's a backup quarterback for a reason. But if you have a guy like Deshaun Watson out there, you're literally in a way better, scenario than you are right now. Probably about 6-3 right now if you have Deshaun, but that's not what's happening. We're not here in the hypothetical game. Well, at least right now. That comes for the offseason. And another game with a lot of playoff gravity around it in the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Los Angeles Chargers. I said yesterday about franchise quarterbacks and how Justin Herbert struggles against teams that are above 500 and against other top-tier quarterbacks. The Chiefs have both of those. Chiefs are above 500 and also have a top-tier quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. He is the top of the quarterbacks. The Chargers are very banged up. Mike Williams, no Keenan, no Joey. It's going to be bad. It's going to be a long night for the Los Angeles Chargers. Long night for Justin Herbert. Kansas City probably wins this game by, I would say, about 4 points. Tooney's probably going to get, Kadarius Toney is going to probably get a lot of touches due to Mecole Hardman being placed on IR yesterday. Kansas City's going to keep the ball rolling. Travis is probably going to get another 100-yard game. He hasn't had any in a while, but on Sunday night, it seems like that he's prone to get one, especially since he didn't get 100 yards against them earlier this season on Thursday Night Football. So, Chargers are just going to keep dropping down the standings. Hopefully, hopefully for the Chargers, the Patriots lose to the Jets this weekend. To try and keep that gap as close as possible. And in the NFC, a team who I hate, Dallas Cowboys, who suck every year. It's never their year, even though they always say it's their year. Are going into Minnesota to play the Vikings. And we all know Kirk Cousins after 1 p.m. sucks. If it's a 4 p.m. game, he sucks. If it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, oh my gosh, run to the nearest bookie, run to the nearest casino, run to FanDuel on your phone or DraftKings or BetMGM. I'm not going to just say one betting website because none of y'all sponsor me yet. Y'all want a little logo right here, top of the left, top corner? I'm willing to put it in there. Hit me up. But right now, it's essentially a pick'em game. Cowboys are favored by 1.5 points. And let's be honest. Kirk Cousins lost to Cooper Rush last year. This year, Dak Prescott's going to be back out there. Kirk Cousins is 11-40 against teams that are above 500. The Vikings have the 6th worst pass defense in the league. But they do have the 10th best pass defense. So with Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard back there, well, hopefully Ezekiel Elliott back. A lot of things are trending towards him being back for this Sunday. Hopefully they stop the run. They can get, some stops. Force Dak to, I don't really think you really want to force Dak to throw because your pass defense isn't that good. But on the other side, if you can't get the ball to Justin Jefferson and the run game's not really there with Dalvin Cook, what's the Vikings going to do? What are they going to do? There is nothing for them to do. Kirk Cousins is going to have to go out there, play good, which he won't because he sucks. And also because the Cowboys' pass defense is very, very good. They've allowed the 3rd lowest amount of pass yards this season. And that's very impressive. That stems from Micah getting after the quarterback. DeMarcus Lawrence getting after the quarterback. And then the secondary holding on for dear life until those guys get a sack. Because, let's be honest, Justin Jefferson's going to get bracketed the whole game. If he doesn't, and then they catch Trayvon Diggs in man-to-man, we know what Trayvon Diggs likes to fall for. He loves to bite for the double move. And you bite on a double move from Justin Jefferson, he's going to be taking that ball 60 yards to Baja land, and he's going to score. And you're going to see the little gritty, the real one, not the Mike Gesicki gritty. And it's going to be bad. But I do think the Cowboys will win this one. I know they just came off an overtime win, but the Vikings are coming off a win where they shouldn't have won. They're too high off probably life right now. Just beat the Buffalo Bills. Cowboys go in there, handle business, and if the Cowboys let me down one more time, it's going to be a problem. But a Cowboys loss would help my New York Giants in the division standings, as well as, trying to make it easier for us to get a top 2 seed, because the Giants usually split the games with the Eagles. And with one loss to the Eagles, let's throw that in there, we'll be good. We'll be fine. Go 14-3, boom, Giants, number 1 or number 2 seed, even though I don't think the Giants can't actually win a playoff game. So that's it for the NFL part of today's episode. We'll be right back after this short break to talk about how things are going to shake out in the West for the in the sense of college football in the Pac-12. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about betting within that segment. And that's it. We're going to get out of here in a short episode. Ty Belcher through the whistle, and make sure you guys stay tuned through the break. Welcome back in from break. Once again, Ty Belcher through the Whistle Podcast, episode 13. And before I talk about college football, I want to talk about what I have on my t-shirt. Rise Boxing and Fitness in Columbus, Ohio. Boxing training. Everybody knows boxing is a great workout, staying in shape. And especially when you have someone like Tyler, who is the owner of Rise Boxing and Fitness, who's going to push you to do great things, going to keep you engaged, and going to keep you wanting to come back to keep bettering yourself. So I will have the link in the description to sign up, as well as his Instagram to reach out, schedule classes and whatever you need to do. Make sure you tap in with Rise Boxing and Fitness. And talk about people getting beat up. What better segue from boxing to 4 defenses that all suck and get beat up on every Saturday. So let's start off with the non-rivalry game. Utah's facing Oregon in Eugene, Oregon. Before last week, I would have been like, going into Eugene, impossible, you're not going to win, blah, blah, blah. But we just saw Washington and Michael Penix go in there and, just get off on Oregon's defense. But as of right now, the over-under for that game is at 60.5, which feels extremely low, especially with Utah's defense being so overrated. Utah, on the passing side, passing defense-wise, allowed Dorian Thompson Robinson, a.k.a. DTR from UCLA, to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Insane. It's crazy. A lot of yards. Utah also allowed Caleb Williams to go throw for 381 yards and 5 touchdowns. Both those teams scored 40 points against Utah. For my math majors out there, 60 minus 40 points, because we're going to go ahead and allocate 40 points to Oregon, because Bo Nix has thrown for at least 265 yards or more in each of the last 5 games. And that's with him being banged up for about 7 minutes of a nice chunk of the fourth quarter against Washington. So you can go ahead and just chalk up 40 points on the scoreboard for Oregon. And on the other side, Oregon's defense is bad, but it's not as bad as Utah's. Oregon allowed Dorian Thompson Robinson, from UCLA, like I just talked about, to throw for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. They also allowed Penix last week to throw for 408 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the only difference is Oregon is forcing at least 1 turnover from each of those 2 guys. Both DTR and Penix threw 1 pick against Oregon. Oregon is going to allow at least 35 points. So let's do some math. 30 plus the 40, put it together, that's 70 points. This game is going to go over. Bet the bank on it. Bet my tuition on it. I know I bet my tuition last week. I need to bet my money back. I got to get it back. I got to get it back even. So a big goal for Oregon has to be keeping Cameron Rising in the pocket. You got to keep him, you got to kind of force him to throw the ball. He's had less than 225 passing yards in 3 of the last 5 games. And a lot of damage that he does, he did this well against Florida, did it well against UCLA, did it well against USC. He used his legs. Runs the ball pretty well. I feel like if you keep him in the pocket, even last year against Ohio State, he did really, really good with his legs. If you keep him in the pocket, force him to throw the ball, I think Oregon can win this game. And if Oregon wins this game, they will solidify a spot in the Pac-12 championship game. This game, once upon a time, aka 6 days ago, had a lot of playoff caliber to it due to Oregon once being only a 1-loss team undefeated in the Pac-12. But now this game is only about getting to the Pac-12 championship game. Utah wins this game. They will essentially will have a strong chance of locking up a spot in the Pac-12 championship game. I think they do clinch the Pac-12 championship spot with this win, especially if USC loses to UCLA because they have the head-to-head over USC. So with USC in mind, Caleb Williams, a.k.a. the second best quarterback in the nation. Yes, he's better than C.J. Stroud. Yes, he is. He's better than C.J. But UCLA and USC's over-unders at 76.5. And that's because USC and UCLA have a worse defense than Utah and Oregon. It is dramatically bad. Like, it is dramatically worse than both those other teams. They are just so bad. Like, I just don't know. UCLA has allowed 285 plus passing yards against Arizona, Washington, Utah, and Oregon. That's just to name 4 of them. They let Arizona, with a non-name brand quarterback, go into UCLA, go into the Rose Bowl, the house that the Big Ten built. Yes, that's the Big Ten's house, we know. Let a non-name brand quarterback from Arizona throw for over 285 yards. No self-respect. Penix, field day. Cameron Rising had 285 passing yards against him. Come on. Like, let's be real. And then Bo Nix, field day, over 285 passing yards. Caleb's going to throw for probably 1,000 yards tomorrow. Tomorrow. He's going to throw for at least 1,000 yards. It's going to be bad. He probably throws for about 400 yards, especially since Travis Dye is out for the rest of the season. Take away the run game, you have to air it out. But the thing is, Caleb has no problem with just throwing the ball. He has no problem with doing that. He probably prefers to just do that all game. And I don't see anybody on UCLA's defense who's going to stop Jordan Addison. Don't see anybody who's going to really get pressure on Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams goes out there, 300 yards, easy. Take him 300 yards, put him in a parlay, bet the tuition on that. Barring injury, if an injury happens, I get my tuition back. I don't care. But USC's defense is just as bad, well, almost as bad. I'm not going to put them as low as UCLA's defense because that's the floor. UCLA is the floor, essentially. Well, at least of top 15 teams. USC's defense is also bad. We saw them struggle against... No, we saw them play good in spots. Also say them play bad in spots. They let Utah come back and just punch them in their face, punch them in their mouth. And DTR, hey, he's one of them ones. Zach Charbonnet, Michigan man, former Michigan man. He will run the ball down your throat. And with that being said, 76.5 points is a lot. It's a lot. You need 77. That's a lot of points. It's 37 points each, which is going to happen because it's going to be probably 42 to probably about 42 to 35, which will make the over hit by half a point. And I feel like the betting gods owe me at least a half a point because I'm begging. So if I had to take a winner in both these games, in the Oregon-Utah game with a healthy, not even a healthy, but about an 85% Bo Nix, I think Oregon wins at home. And I think in the USC-UCLA game, I think I think USC beats UCLA probably about maybe 10 points. USC probably forces a late game turnover. USC is good for forcing turnovers. And in other games across the, college football landscape, we have a big matchup, two big matchups in the Big Ten. You have Ohio State going in against Maryland, which is going to be, do not wait. I'm going to let you guys know something. I would highly recommend not betting the spread in favor of Ohio State or Michigan this week, because I personally feel, I'm just a guy who makes a podcast, but I personally feel like both head coaches are going to try to preserve their guys for next week, for the matchup between Ohio State and Michigan. Try to preserve their guys, get up and then just backups. Come on, y'all ought to keep these guys as fresh as possible. It's already late in the season. It's going to be cold. You need to keep your guys as fresh as possible, hopefully. Try to get in, get out, call it a day. You just need to get to next week unscathed. And then SEC Cupcake Week. It must be someone's birthday in the SEC Commissioner's office because everybody in the SEC has cupcakes. No offense to UAB, Austin Pay. I'm sorry. It's November. Tomorrow's going to be November 19th, and cupcakes. Uncalled for. Someone needs to they need a bit. This is why the NCAA needs a commissioner, because this should not be allowed. But anyways, let's get back to, get off my little high horse, get off my diatribe. Let's get a little bit about betting on the NFL. Probably should have did this with the NFL segment, but I'm not really feeling any of these lines. I know, I'm sorry. But if I had to choose one, I'll choose two. They got the games, the spreads, right in front of me. Jets plus 3.5. I like it. I like it a lot. I know they're playing against the Patriots. Zach Wilson doesn't play so well against the Patriots. Last time they played, Patriots honestly should have lost. But Zach Wilson wanted to tweak to the game. So I'll take Jets plus 3.5. I don't know about Mike Tomlin. I just heard a very interesting stat. Mike Tomlin undefeated as a home underdog against AFC North teams. Against the spread, though. Undefeated against the spread as a home underdog against AFC North opponents. And they're a 3.5 point favorite. But that number's too low for me. So I would go Jets plus 3.5. Chiefs plus 4.5. Chiefs minus 4.5. And I'm going Eagles get their minds right. I know it's a short week, but Eagles -7 against the Colts. So those are my three picks for this weekend on the NFL side. Nothing that will bet the mortgage on. But if we're going to hold this accountable in the show parlay, show parlay record. Just do overs for UCLA and USC. It's only over 76.5. I promise you it is. As well as well as Oregon and Utah going over 60.5. So Utah, I can't get this out. This might be a bad omen. But USC, I don't know why I'm having too many U's right now. UCLA and USC over 76.5. Utah and Oregon over 60.5 points. Both those combined should probably give you a payout around $250. So those two are my locks of the weekend. And with that being said, episode 13 of Through the Whistle is now in the books. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Try to have a safe, warm, and productive weekend. Ty Belcher, and this is Through the Whistle.